नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 11, the symptoms of conditioned and liberated living entities. So yesterday we studied wonderful qualities that Krishna is expecting in all of his devotees. And then those devotees are very dear to me, he says. Further he says, text 34 onwards, Mallingam Bhakta Jana Darshana Sparshanarchanam Paricharya Stuti Prava Guna Karmanukirtanam Mat Katha Shravane Shraddha Mat Anudhyanam Uddhava Sarva Labho Paraharanam Dasenatma Nivedanam Majjanma Karma Kathanam Mama Parvanu Modanam Gita Tandava Vaditra Goshti Bhir Mad Grihotsava Yatra Bali Vidhanam Cha Sarva Varshika Parvasu Vediki Tantriki Diksha Madhya Vrata Dharanam Mamarcha Stapane Shraddha Swata Samhritya Sodyamaha Udyano Pavana Krida Puramandara Karmani Sammarjano Bale Pabhyam Sekam Mandala Vartane Grishu Shrušnam Mayam Dasavadyad Mayaya Amanitvam Adambhitvam Kritasya Parikirtanam Api Deepavalokam Me Nopayunjaya Nivedam Yad Dishtitamam Loke Yachati Priyamatmanah Tattat Nivedayin Mayam Tadanantyaya Kalpamahe Tadanantyaya Kalpate. My dear Uddhav, one can give up false pride and prestige by engaging in the following devotional activities. Very important for us. One may purify oneself by seeing, touching, worshipping, serving, and offering prayers of glorification and obeisances to my form as a deity and to my pure devotees. See, my form as a deity and to my pure devotees, the result will be the same. One should also glorify my transcendental qualities and activities. Hear with love and faith the narrations of my glories and constantly meditate on me. One should offer to me whatever one acquires, and accepting oneself as my eternal servant, one should give oneself completely to me. One should always discuss my birth and activities and enjoy life by participating in festivals such as Janmashtami, which glorify my pastimes. In my temple, one should also participate in festivals and ceremonies by singing, dancing, playing musical instruments, and discussing me with other Vaishnavas. One should observe all the regularly celebrated annual festivals by attending ceremonies, pilgrimages, and making offerings. One should also observe religious vows such as Ekadashi and take initiation by the procedures mentioned in the Vedas, Pancharatra, and other similar literatures. One should faithfully and lovingly support the installation of my deity and individually or in cooperation with others. One should work for the construction of Krishna conscious temples and cities, as well as flower gardens, fruit gardens, and special areas to celebrate my pastimes. One should consider oneself to be my humble servant without duplicity, and thus should help to clean the temple, which is my home. First, one should sweep and dust thoroughly, and then one should further cleanse with water and cow dung. Having dried the temple, one should sprinkle scented water and decorate the temple with mandals. One should thus act just like my servant. A devotee should never advertise his devotional activities. Therefore, his service will not be the cause of false pride. One should never use lamps that are offered to me for other purposes simply because there is need of illumination. And similarly, one should never offer to me anything that has been offered to or used by others. Whatever is most desired by one within this material world, and whatever is most dear to oneself, one should offer that very thing to me. Such an offering qualifies one for eternal life. See, so many activities Krishna just mentioned. And thing is, Prabhupada, he established all of these activities in the service of Krishna. But the result should be one should give up false pride and prestige by engaging in the following devotion service. So false pride and prestige, because Krishna again and again said one should act as my servant, think of himself as my servant. So pride and prestige, they're the big roadblocks, big obstacles in our devotion service or in our making progress. We have to give it up. In these 8 verses, Lord Krishna ends his discussion of saintly qualities in general and describes the specific characteristics of the devotees of the Lord. Lord Krishna has clearly described, both here and in the Bhagavad Gita, that the ultimate goal of life is to surrender fully to him and become his pure devotee. Herein the Lord elaborately describes the process of devotional service. One should offer everything that one acquires to the Lord, thinking, Lord Krishna has sent these things so that I may serve him nicely. One ultimately should understand that the minute spirit soul is all part and parcel of Lord Krishna, and thus one should surrender one's very self to the Lord. So we are part and parcel of the Lord. And as minute spirit soul, we don't have any capabilities or any other qualities that we think we have. Only thing is, be a servant of Krishna. And we should surrender completely. Just as an ordinary servant is meek and submissive to his master, similarly a devotee should always be submissive to his spiritual master, who is a representative of Lord Krishna. He should realize how his body and mind are purified simply by his seeing the spiritual master or by accepting on his head the water offered to the spiritual master. It is emphasized in these verses that one should attend Vaishnava festivals. As far as possible, large festivals should be held all over the world so that people can gradually learn how to perfect human life. The words Mamarcha Sthavane Shraddha are significant. Here, Lord Krishna states that one should have faith in his deity worship, since the Lord is personally present as a deity. The word Udyana Pavanar Krida Pur Mandir Karmani indicates that there should be serious endeavor to construct beautiful temples and Vaishnava cities with ample parks, orchards, and flower gardens. An outstanding example of such endeavors can be presently seen in India at Mayapur Chandrodaya Mandir. And now by the wonderful effort of devotees, a huge temple is coming over. The words Deepavalokam me Naupayunja Niveditam indicate that one may never use the deity's paraphernalia for sense gratification. If there is a shortage of electricity or lights, one may not use the deity's lamps, nor should one ever offer to Lord Krishna paraphernalia previously offered to or used by others. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we have to offer him the best and the purest things available. In these verses, the importance of deity worship and Vaishnava festivals is emphasized in many ways. Lord Krishna promises that whoever sincerely performs these activities will certainly go back home, back to Godhead. One should offer this his most dear possession to Lord Krishna, not that which is superfluous, unwanted. Generally, that's what people do. When they give, at least those who are not devotees, when they give some charity, it's just something they don't need. Okay, let's give it to Krishna. And many times the son, one of the childs in the family who is not good at studies, not good at in making money. Then they tell us, and it has happened. Then they tell, oh, Prabhuji, you take him to your temple, you make him a devotee, make him a brahmachari. But the son who's making good money, good in school, and a good at job, so no, that we cannot let go of. That should not be the thought process. If one is most attached to his family, one should see that his family is engaged in Lord Krishna's service. If one is most attached to money, that should be given for propagating Krishna consciousness. And if one considers one's intelligence to be most valuable, he should preach Krishna consciousness with great logic and reason. If we offer our most valuable possessions to Lord Krishna, we will automatically become dear to the Lord and go back to contact. That's all. I mean, Krishna, when he says, just surrender unto me, we surrender not just us, we surrender everything in the service of the Lord. And the result will automatically become dear to the Lord and go back to Godhead. Cannot expect anything more than that. Suryo Agnir Brahmana Gavu Vaishnava Kam Maru Jalam Puratma Sarva Bhutani Padra Puja Padani Me. O saintly Uddhav, please know that you may worship me in the sun, fire, brahmanas, cows, Vaishnavas, sky, wind, water, earth, individual soul, and all living entities. Unless one understands that Lord Krishna is all-pervading, that everything is resting within the Lord, one's Krishna consciousness is third class, it's materialistic. It's clearly stated in all Vedic literatures that the Supreme Absolute Truth is the source of everything. Everything is within him and he is within everything. To avoid a materialistic conception of Lord Krishna, one should not think that the Lord exists only in a particular time and place. Rather, one should understand that he exists at all time and in all places, and one may search for and find Lord Krishna within all things. The word puja padani indicates that Lord Krishna is all-pervading, but this does not mean that all things are Krishna. Lord Krishna speaks this verse to clarify his supremacy as the all-pervading personality of Godhead and to show the path of complete self-realization. So means we should, or as he is telling Uddhav, so as a devotee, one should see Krishna everywhere. One should be able to. Surya tu vidyayatraya havishagno yajetamam atithena tu vipragre goshvanga yavasadina vaishnave bandhu satkritya hridikhe dhyana nishtaya vayo mukhya dhya toye dravya stoya purasara Standile mantra hridayara bhogyaratmanamatmani kshetragyam sarva bhuteshu samatvena yajetamam. My dear Uddhav, one should worship me within the sun by chanting selected Vedic mantras and by performing worship and offering obeisances. One may worship me within fire by offering oblations of ghee, and one may worship me among the Brahmins by respectfully receiving them as guests, even when uninvited. I can be worshipped within the cows by offerings of grass and other suitable grains and paraphernalia for the pleasure and health of the cows. And one may worship me within the Vaishnavas by offering loving friendship to them and honoring them in all respects. Through steady meditation, I am worshipped within the inner space of the heart. And within the air, I can be worshipped by knowledge that prana, the life air, is the chief among elements. I am worshipped within water by offering of water itself, along with other elements such as flowers and tulsi leaves. One may worship me within the earth by proper application of confidential seed mantras. One may worship me within the individual living entity by offering food and other enjoyable substances. And one may worship me within all living entities by seeing the super soul within all of them, thus maintaining equal vision. So this doesn't mean, obviously in the previous verse, that everything is Krishna. Cow is not Krishna. Cow is very dear to Krishna. Cow is very sacred, but cow is not Krishna. That part we have to understand. Significantly, the Lord emphasizes in these three verses that one should worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is expanded within all living beings. It's not recommended that one accept any material or spiritual object other than the Lord as supreme. So that we should not make a mistake. By maintaining steady consciousness of the Lord in his all-pervading feature, one can remain in a worshipful mood 24 hours a day. Thus, one will naturally try to engage all material and spiritual elements in the loving service of Lord Krishna. If because of ignorance one forgets the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one may become inclined to worship powerful material phenomena independent of the Supreme Lord, or one may foolishly consider oneself to be supreme. One should remain sane and accept the worshipable presence of the Supreme Lord within everything. And this is also one of the mistakes people make when they argue. Oh, why you have to go to temple and open such big temples and worship the Lord? Lord is everywhere. Worship him everywhere. But first of all, Lord is everywhere, definitely. So, but do we see him everywhere? Do we have those eyes, first of all? And if he is everywhere, he is in the temple also. But there is a difference between worshipping him as a deity form in the temple, then worshipping, thinking everything is Lord and worshipping him. That's not the way it is. We should be able to see the Lord everywhere, yes. But worship is for deity in the temple. We should respect everything or everyone, because everyone is part and parcel of Krishna. But that doesn't mean we stop the worship of the deity in the temple. Deshne ashvit vyeshu matarupam shankha chakra gadam bhujay yuktam chaturbhujam shantam dhyayan archeta samahita. Thus, in the previously mentioned places of worship and according to the processes are described, one should meditate on my peaceful transcendental form with 4 arms holding a conch shell, Sudarshan disc, club, and lotus flower. In this way, one should worship me with fixed attention. So this is the form of the Lord as Paramatma. The Lord has previously explained that he appears in different transcendental forms to his pure devotees so that may unlimitedly increase their love of Godhead. Here is given a general description of the 4-armed Narayan form, which pervades the material world as Super Soul or Paramatma. Pure devotees, however, do not meditate upon the Lord within the heart, but rather render active service to a specific form of the Lord, such as Ram or Krishna, and thus perfect the realization of Bhagwan, the Supreme Lord, who engages in transcendental pastimes with his devotees in the spiritual world. And also with Paramatma. Now in Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned that we can meditate on Paramatma, Dhyan. But we cannot have a personal relationship with Paramatma. You cannot do bhoga offering to Paramatma. Dhyan, yes, but other relationships, no, cannot have. So for that, one has to have the deity form of Krishna, Rama, or whatever, Narasimha, Devara. One should not be puffed up and claim that because one is meditating on the Lord within nature, there is no need to go to the temple. Temple worship has been repeatedly emphasized by the Lord himself. The word samahita in this verse indicates samadhi. If one very carefully worships the deity or hears and chants about the pastimes of Lord Krishna, one is certainly in samadhi. By worshipping and glorifying the Lord 24 hours a day, one becomes a liberated soul and gradually rises completely beyond the influence of the material creation. So that's what we have to do. Be in samadhi means meditate on our service to the Lord. Ishtapurtena mamevam yo yajeta samahita labate mai yasad bhaktim mata smriti sadhu sevaya. one who has executed sacrificial performances and pious works for my satisfaction, and who thus worships me with fixed attention, obtains unflinching devotional service unto me. By the excellent quality of his service, such a worshipper obtains realized knowledge of me. So this is how one can attain unflinching devotional service. The Lord Ishtapurtena, which means sacrificial performances and pious works, does not indicate deviation from the pure devotion service of the Lord. Lord Krishna or Vishnu is called Yajna, or the Lord of the sacrifice. And in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I am the actual enjoyer of all sacrifice. The highest sacrifice is to chant the holy names of the Lord. And by taking shelter of the Lord's names, one will acquire unflinching devotion and realize knowledge of the absolute truth. So this is a process Krishna has given. Chant his holy name, perform devotion service, and one will achieve the realized knowledge. A realized devotee is very attentive in his devotional service, taking it as his life and soul. He keeps himself fit for devotional service by constantly worshipping and glorifying the lotus feet of the spiritual master and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and engages in full enthusiasm always. And that is the perfection. Prayana bhakti yogena satsangena vinodhava nopaya vidyate samyak prayanam hi satamaham. My dear Uddhava, I am personally the ultimate shelter and way of life for saintly liberated persons. And thus, if one does not engage in my loving devotion service, which is made possible by associating with my devotees, then for all practical purposes, one possesses no effective means for escaping from material existence. So, devotion service is a topmost activity, topmost yoga system, and this is the goal of life. This is it. This is the perfection. This is the path. This is the goal. Long purport. I'll just go to the end because it's. I want to complete the chapter today. If, as stated in this verse, it's generally prayana, impossible to escape material bondage without devotion service in the association of devotees, one can simply imagine the probabilities of liberation in Kali Yuga without the Krishna consciousness movement. The chances are certainly zero. Well, the Krishna consciousness movement it doesn't mean only ISKCON. Of course, devotees were writing from these purports are from ISKCON, but it means anybody who is performing devotion service to Krishna or Vishnu Tattva. So, with so many wonderful devotees from Shri Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya, Kumar Sampradaya, they all are Vaishnavas performing wonderful services. It's when we see them, meet them, we think we are not doing anything actually. But in what it means is other paths if somebody has taken, like Gyan or Hatha Yoga or Karma, definitely not Karma Kanda will take us anywhere. So the chances of following any other path other than devotion service, of getting perfection is zero. One may concoct a type of liberation on the mental platform, or one may live in a so-called spiritual society of mutual flattery. But if one actually wants to go back to God and see with spiritual eyes a beautiful kingdom of God called Krishna Loka, one must take to Lord Chaitanya's movement and worship Lord Krishna in the association of the Bhakta Gana, the devotees of the Lord. So yes, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, because Mahaprabhu's mercy is so one makes progress very fast and great progress one can make. Athatat parmam guyam shanvato yadunandanam so gopyam api vakshyami tvam me bhritya suhrit sakha. My dear Uddhava, beloved of the Yadu dynasty, because you are my servant, well-wisher and friend, I shall now speak to you the most confidential knowledge. Please hear as I explain these great mysteries to you. It's most confidential knowledge. He also told Arjuna that I'm giving you the most confidential knowledge. See, there is confidential knowledge, there is more confidential, and there is most confidential. So the confidential knowledge that he gave in Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna was the difference of the body and the soul, that we are not this body, we are spirit souls. More confidential is to engage in devotional service. Most confidential, engage in pure devotional service. So that knowledge, again, Krishna will explain this to Uddhavji. It is stated in the first chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, a bona fide spiritual master naturally reveals all transcendental secrets to a sincere disciple. Shri Uddhav had completely surrendered to Lord Krishna, and then only could the Lord explain such mysteries to him, because without complete faith, the transmission of spiritual knowledge is impossible. Other processes of self-realization, such as philosophical speculation, which is Jnana Marga, are imperfect and unsteady because the performer has personal desires, and there is no definite procedure by which to obtain the full mercy of the Supreme Lord. On the other hand, association with the pure devotees of the Lord is a self-sufficient process that is guaranteed to evolve the desired result. So this is the only way. And here Krishna also says, because you are my servant, well-wisher and friend. And there in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjuna, you are my Sakha, you are my devotee, and you're not envious of me. That's why I'm giving you this knowledge. So it means to understand, to realize this knowledge, to imbibe these teachings, we have to be servant, well-wisher, and friend, and not being envious of Krishna. Then only we can understand. Otherwise, no way. Bhagavatam is distributed nowadays among everybody. Bhagavad Gita, we go and distribute on the roads, on the streets. But this most confidential knowledge, even by taking Bhagavad Gita, by reading, one cannot understand until his heart is transformed. That transformation of the heart makes us eligible. That because of transformation of the heart, we surrender, we take up service, we try to become devotees, and Krishna gives us this knowledge from within. Outside is just theoretical knowledge. We have to practically apply, and then the realizations will come. And realizations will come in accordance with our surrender. More we are surrendered, more realizations. So this is how I look at Uddhavji. He is getting all the mercy, and so much he will get. And of course, through Uddhav and through Prabhupada, we are getting all this knowledge. But to realize it, we have to surrender. Slowly, slowly, slowly surrender more and more and more. So anyway, so thus ends the purpose to 11th canto, 11th chapter of Srimad Bhagavatam, the symptoms of conditioned and liberated living entities. So tomorrow we'll start the next chapter, chapter 12. So we'll stop here, see anybody has any questions or comments.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Please accept my humble obeisance.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, the pure devotional service, which is getting referred here, so it will come by following all the regulative principles and everything, or it is like some people are sentimental. So what those sentimental people do and what the bhav is actually, that is different, right, Prabhuji? So those sentimental people should also follow the regulations, because that is not their bhav actually.
See, there's a difference, huge difference between bhav and bhavukta. That we have to see. Sentimental, everything can be used in service of Krishna. But are they pure sentiments for pleasure of Krishna? Or they're just emotions, material emotions? But either one has to engage in service. Srila Prabhupada, he was at the stage of prema, but he was always preaching, traveling, management, this, that, he was doing it. Is it okay?
Yes,
Krishna. Prabhuji, one question that this, the discussion between Lord Krishna and Uddhava, what time it happened? Was it, like the, when Krishna was about to, leave this, earth, that time he already told Uddhava that this is the time has come, I have to leave. So is that during that period he talked
Yes.
about this to Uddhava?
Yes.
Okay.
It is right before the Prabhas Leela, where all the Yadus are going to be leaving.
Okay.
Because
And
Krishna
so
asked Uddhavji not to go with him. He wanted Uddhavji to stay back and give this knowledge to others. So that's why he's giving this knowledge to Uddhavji.
Yeah, and it's so simplified, Prabhuji. He has said Krishna told everything, how to pray, how to clean the temple, each and everything so clearly.
Yep.
This is really nice to hear. I mean, somebody can just follow it. That's it.
Yeah, so no speculation.
Thank you.
We don't have to speculate. Everything is there.
Exactly.
Okay, so we'll stop here. You all have a safe and wonderful day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.